spoke to this a little bit, but what is next? What do you see over the next, say, 12 months for Madrona and for you?
Yeah, so I mentioned kind of stepping back a little bit because we've been drinking from the fire hydrant for a while, and that is a reality of being a startup. But we need to be strategic in the next steps that we take. So, what are the most appropriate services that we can offer? We're looking at some outpatient services. We are looking to work with DHS to offer potentially some longer term stays with us, just because that is a need in the community, and there are some gaps. And if kids aren't getting the services, then they're at risk,
Right.
and we see that need. And oftentimes, when we're looking to do referrals after our kids leave, the next fit is not necessarily there. So how can we help further? And that's kind of the step back that we're doing right now, to look at it very carefully, and to identify what are we fit to do, and how do we make that happen as a team.
Mm-hmm. Well, before I close, I always like to ask if there's anything that I should have asked or could have asked that I didn't, that you can tell us about Madrona.
Well, again, going back to when we first started, was this the right move, or was this appropriate for a teacher to jump in? And looking back at the performa that we worked on.
Yeah, you mentioned at the top of it that as you got more into it, you might not have done it again.
No.
So maybe we could ask that a different. Yeah. If there was another John Thornton out there who had a similar background and was thinking about doing this, what would you tell him?
I would say surround yourself with effective people who can provide you with some real experience share that will help guide your decision making, and really not so much look for advice, but look for people who have who've done what you've done, and who are going to be honest with you about the challenges, and surround yourself with the best people always.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I did do this now after 2 years, but after year one, it was rough, and sometimes you just need to jump in.
Yeah.
Take a leap.
Yeah, that's so on point of a conversation I had this morning. I was talking to another entrepreneur who was he had started a web design business out in Beaverton, and he's 3 years in now. Uh-huh. And he said, "Man, I wish somebody had told me that year two was going to suck."
These are common stories.
Like, yeah.
Commiserate a little bit around that.
So yeah, it's interesting that now here we are in very similar, totally different circumstances, but kind of a similar thing. Yeah, I think that's, and thinking about my own business development, I think that's somewhat been true for me too. I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't say that it sucked. I'm happy to have been doing what I'm doing, mm-hmm. but it's more challenging. Yeah. And looking forward to days when I'm more sure of what I'm doing.
It does get better. It gets enjoyable, and if you can get through surviving and start thriving, it's wonderful to kind of look at the that end, and we're seeing that right now.
That's great. Yeah. That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this. I appreciate it, and I know I think our audience is going to find it interesting to kind of hear from an entrepreneur where the mission is really front and center. So this is a great opportunity for us. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Todd.